Everyone at Veltronics HQ expected a PR stunt. What they got was a revolution. The moment 14-year-old Ava Grayson walked into the high-security test garage in Fallbridge City, the air shifted. No name badge, no clearance, just torn jeans, oil-streaked hands, and a look in her eyes that made grown engineers uncomfortable. Mr. Vane, the executive director of Veltronics, laughed out loud when he saw her. "Is this our new recruit? What's next? Kindergarten coders?" he mocked, prompting chuckles from his polished entourage. Then he handed her a tablet. On the screen, the diagnostic interface of an engine even Veltronics' top engineers couldn't decode. Ava stared at it for 10 seconds. Then she said something no one in that room would ever forget. "This isn't an engine issue. It's sabotage from inside your own company." Silence. You could hear the whir of the overhead fan, the clink of a socket wrench dropping to the floor. The PR team stopped recording, because at that moment, nobody had become the threat. Ava Grayson didn't grow up with luxury. She grew up under the rusted beams of a family-run garage, tucked behind a faded billboard in the industrial zone of Fallbridge City. Her father, Nate Grayson, had been fixing engines longer than most engineers had been alive. And while Ava's classmates were playing video games or going to sleepovers, she was under the hood, learning the language of pistons and pressure valves. By 10, she could identify engine problems by sound. By 12, she was building custom diagnostic tools using old phones and scrapyard parts. But school? It didn't make sense to her. The teachers said she was distracted, unfocused. One even called her unteachable. But what they didn't see, what her father always knew, was that Ava's mind didn't work in straight lines. It worked in layers, systems, patterns, not theory, but instinct. She had one friend, an old laptop with a cracked screen she called Sparky. With it, she coded quietly at night, running simulations, breaking down firmware she'd found in online forums, and even mimicking proprietary car software just to see what made it tick. Nate warned her, "You're poking bears you can't see, kid." But Ava didn't care. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She was trying to understand. And on that Thursday morning, when Veltronics scheduled an elite tech demonstration at her father's shop, she felt it. That pull, that strange gravity. She wasn't supposed to be there, but she went anyway, and that changed everything. The morning air was thick with oil and anticipation at Grayson Auto Works. Ava Grayson, only 13, slipped in through the side entrance. Her hoodie sleeves pulled low to hide the grease stains on her wrists. Her father had told her not to come. Today was a corporate day. Professionals only. Veltronics Corp was sending their top brass to test an engine nobody could fix. But Ava had felt it, deep in her gut, like the click of a bolt tightening in her chest. She needed to be there. Inside, the mood was tense. Mechanics whispered over diagnostics, tools clinked nervously on metal trays. Then, a black SUV slid to a stop at the curb. The passenger door opened. Polished shoes stepped onto the cracked concrete. Mr. Vane had arrived. He moved like he owned oxygen. Tailored suit, gold cufflinks, and sunglasses that reflected the entire garage. No one greeted him. They didn't need to. His presence was a command. Behind him, a platform was wheeled in, draped in a heavy tarp. Beneath it, the engine. Ava kept to the shadows, heart pounding. She wasn't supposed to be part of this. But fate, as always, had other plans. The tarp came off with a hiss. Every mechanic leaned in. The engine beneath was unlike anything they'd seen. Sleek, experimental, too clean to be ordinary. It was Veltronics' prototype, still years from release, and supposedly unfixable. One tech reached for the diagnostic tablet. The moment he plugged in, red error codes blinked across the screen like warning sirens. He frowned. Reset. Same result. Mr. Vane watched silently, arms crossed. His expression was unreadable, but the room could feel it. Pressure rising, expectations cracking. Another mechanic stepped up, tried a manual readout. The results didn't match. The data was looping, inconsistent, confusing. Ava's eyes narrowed. From where she stood, the patterns were familiar. Her father had taught her how to listen to engines the way a trained ear hears music or detects lies in a voice. But this engine wasn't broken. It was hiding. Just as she leaned forward, her elbow bumped a rusted bucket. It clattered to the floor. Every head turned. Mr. Vane's sunglasses reflected her face. "Who's the kid?" he asked. The room froze. "Wait, are you the mechanic's daughter?" Ava hesitated, then nodded. Mr. Vane smirked. The kind of smirk that made grown men shrink. He turned to his team. Well, since my top engineers can't crack this puzzle, let's see what Miss Grayson has up her sleeve. Chuckles rippled through the room, nervous, condescending. Her father stepped forward, lips parting to object, but Ava raised her hand gently, stopping him. Something about Vane's mockery didn't rattle her. It steadied her. She stepped forward. Every footstep echoed. No one spoke. The mechanics watched, half expecting her to trip, to freeze, to embarrass herself. But Ava didn't hesitate. She approached the engine like it was something alive. She ran her fingers along the metal housing. Cool. Clean. Too clean. Her eyes tracked the fuel injection ports, the valve timing sensors, and then she saw it. A small manifold junction, slightly out of sync. This engine, she finally said, voice calm, clear, isn't broken. Vane arched his brow. It's pretending. A silence followed, thick and sudden. The diagnostics are looping. Someone coded this engine to fail. Now, the room wasn't laughing. Her father's face was drained of color. One technician slowly removed his gloves. Mr. Vane's smile disappeared. Mr. Vane stepped forward, eyes narrowing. His voice cut through the silence. You're suggesting sabotage? Ava didn't flinch. Not sabotage, she said softly. Deception. Someone doesn't want you to see the truth. The tablet still blinked with error codes. But she wasn't watching it. She was watching the story the engine told. Like a diary, one coded in gears and wires. A technician named Briggs, older, skeptical, glanced at her. But why? Who would want that? She turned the tablet toward them and tapped through the settings. This loop resets every 91 seconds. Always the same fault. But it's a mask. If you bypass this sequence, she paused, inputting a custom code string, you'll see what's beneath. The interface flickered. Then, a red alert. Internal sabotage detected. Source. Veltronics, central server, authorized access. Gasps swept the room. Even the seasoned engineers looked shaken. Ava's father took a half step back, stunned. Mr. Vane's jaw tightened. His voice dropped. Who gave you that code? Ava met his stare. No one. I built my own app to reverse engineer diagnostics last summer. The silence that followed wasn't skeptical, it was afraid. They hadn't just missed a clue. They'd been actively kept in the dark. Mr. Vane's expression hardened. His arms folded, his tone shifting from condescension to cold precision. You expect us to believe a teenager reverse-engineered our proprietary software? His voice dripped with disbelief, but also something else, fear. Ava stepped back, clutching the tablet. Her voice didn't rise, but it didn't waver either. I didn't expect you to believe anything. I just wanted to know why the engine kept lying. She handed the tablet to a technician beside her. He stared at the code, his face paling as he recognized the signatures. Sir, she's not wrong. This isn't just a fault. It's embedded firmware manipulation. Mr. Vane took a sharp breath. That's not possible. These units haven't even shipped. No one outside of Veltronics should have access. And that was when Ava said the words that would unravel everything. I think someone inside Veltronics wanted this to be overlooked. The room froze again. Mr. Vane's eyes narrowed into slits. You're accusing corporate engineers of hiding a flaw? No, Ava said. I'm saying someone programmed to cover up. And they almost got away with it, until now. For the first time, Vane didn't have a snarky retort. Only silence and a flicker of panic. From the back of the shop, a low voice broke the tension. I noticed the loop too, said Briggs, the older tech. He stepped forward slowly, wiping his hands on a rag, eyes locked on Mr. Vane. I thought it was just a glitch. Never imagined someone would design it that way. Mr. Vane turned sharply. You didn't report it. Briggs shrugged, shame flickering across his face. Didn't think it mattered. I've seen plenty of weird bugs. Didn't want to sound paranoid. But now, there was no denying it. Ava tapped a final string on the diagnostics pad and brought up a deep layer interface, one that only a handful of Veltronics engineers even knew existed. The screen pulsed red. Access pattern confirmed. Injection point. HQ. Clearance level red. Mr. Vane's breath caught. Clearance level red meant executive access. Her father whispered, Ava, how did you even know this existed? She looked down for a moment, then up again. I didn't. I just kept asking what doesn't make sense, until something broke open. The truth wasn't just hidden in the system. It was buried, and Ava had unearthed it. And someone, somewhere, wasn't going to be happy about that. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, not from police, but from within the walls of Veltronics' digital security system. Ava's screen flashed again. External signal detected. Connection request from remote HQ node. What does that mean? Her father asked, stepping closer. Ava's fingers flew across the screen. Someone just tried to remotely wipe this engine's memory. But I blocked it. Mr. Vane's jaw clenched. His polished facade cracked. You're tampering with classified hardware. You don't even work here. A new voice cut through the tension. She's the only one who figured out what you and your team couldn't. Everyone turned. A tall woman in a fitted navy pantsuit stepped into the shop, flanked by 2 agents. Her ID badge read, Federal Cybernetics Bureau, Special Agent L. Brenner. Where's the prototype? She asked, not missing a beat. All eyes turned to Ava. She pointed silently to the engine and then to Mr. Vane. Good? The agent said, her gaze sharp. Secure the unit. No one leaves. Vane sputtered. You can't be serious. She's a child. But Agent Brenner only looked at Ava and said calmly, She's also our only lead. And just like that, the power shifted. The room, once filled with grease, noise, and tension, now fell under a clinical kind of silence. The silence of federal control. The agents moved swiftly. One downloaded all data from the diagnostics tablet. Another sealed the engine under a portable containment dome. Agent Brenner motioned Ava aside. You cracked a firmware defense no one's touched in months. How did you know the sequence? Ava hesitated. I didn't know it exactly. I reverse-engineered their update package last summer. For fun. Brenner raised an eyebrow. That's your idea of fun? Ava half-smiled, trying to steady herself. It calms my mind. I like breaking things down until they make sense. Her father stood behind her, arms crossed, trying to process it all. This is my daughter, he said. She's smart, but she's not part of this mess. Brenner turned. Not yet, but she's involved now. Mr. Vane stepped forward, his voice tight. This is a breach of corporate security. That child used unauthorized access. But Brenner cut him off coldly. Unauthorized or not, she exposed something we needed to see. That makes her a whistleblower. Protected under federal law. The line had been drawn, and Ava was now standing firmly on the other side of it. As agents began to cordon off the garage, Ava's father leaned in close. Sweetheart, do you even realize what you just stepped into? Ava nodded slowly, her voice hushed. I think so, but I couldn't stay quiet. Not when something felt that wrong. At the far end of the shop, one of the federal techs called out. Ma'am, you need to see this. Agent Brenner walked over, glanced at the monitor, then called Ava. You decrypted something deeper than just sabotage, she said. There's a secondary protocol embedded here, one we haven't seen in 5 years. Ava's brow furrowed. A protocol? The screen displayed one word pulsing in bold red. Obelisk. Agent Brenner looked visibly shaken. That's not possible. Obelisk was shut down. Obelisk. Ava's father echoed. What is that? Before anyone could answer, a second alert popped up. Remote access ping received, origin, unknown node. Encryption level, military grade. A chill settled over the garage. Brenner's jaw tightened. They know we found it. Ava looked at her father. What now? Agent Brenner didn't hesitate. Now, we move. Fast. The secret wasn't just exposed, it was awake. Ava was quickly ushered to the back of the garage, where a sleek black SUV waited, engine running. Her father followed, but Agent Brenner held up a hand. Just her. This is now a classified matter. She's my daughter, he protested. She just activated a defense protocol tied to one of the most classified government systems in existence, Brenner replied. And someone out there wants it buried. Ava stepped forward, voice firm despite her shaking hands. I'm not leaving him. Brenner hesitated, then nodded. He comes. But stay close. As the vehicle sped away, Ava sat in stunned silence. She stared out the tinted windows, trying to piece it all together. She hadn't planned to be here today. She hadn't planned to unlock anything. But Obelisk had recognized her. That much was clear. Brenner opened a secure case and pulled out a small tablet. She handed it to Ava. This is everything we know about Obelisk, or at least what's left of it. You triggered a dormant key. It shouldn't have existed anymore. Ava blinked. So what happens now? Brenner looked her dead in the eye. Now? Ava, the world's going to come knocking. And not everyone is here to say thank you. The SUV wove through Fallbridge City's downtown grid. But Ava could sense they weren't heading to any known government building. Her father leaned close. "We're not going to the Bureau?" Agent Brenner replied without turning her head. "Too risky. If Obelisk is active, traditional channels are compromised. We're taking her to Site Echo." Ava looked down at the tablet. The files were heavily redacted. One phrase stood out in bold black text. "Project Obelisk. Cognitive AI Interface System. Human key required." Human key. It echoed in her head. "What does that mean?" she asked. Brenner finally turned to her. "It means you're not just someone who triggered it. You were designed as the final gatekeeper." "That's impossible," Ava said. "I'm nobody. Just a girl who grew up fixing engines." But her voice betrayed her disbelief. Deep down, something had always felt different. The car suddenly veered off a main road into a tunnel entrance Ava hadn't noticed before. The doors sealed behind them. Her father grabbed her hand. "I don't know what this is, Ava. But whatever it is, they chose you." The tunnel stretched on, lit only by rows of cold white light. At the end of the line, the truth waited. As the SUV emerged from the tunnel, Ava saw it, a sleek underground facility carved into the bedrock. Security checkpoints, armed guards, digital scanners that flickered blue with each passing step. Site Echo wasn't just a bunker. It was a fortress. Inside, Director Elias Keene awaited. Tall, gray at the temples. With the posture of someone who never apologized. He didn't offer a handshake. He simply said, "You've activated something that could shift the balance of national power. Follow me." Ava glanced at her father, then followed. They walked past glass rooms with glowing interfaces, war rooms with live satellite feeds, and labs filled with engineers and analysts, most too focused to even look up. Finally, they reached a sealed vault. On the door was a biometric pad and a mirror. Keene looked at her. "It scans pattern cognition, not fingerprints. You either pass or you vanish." Ava hesitated, heart pounding. She stepped forward. The light scanned her face, then her irises. A green flash. Access granted. The door hissed open. Inside, a single terminal sat waiting, its screen pulsing with a faint heartbeat glow. On it, one line of text. "Hello, Ava." The room fell into a reverent silence as Ava stepped toward the terminal. Her father lingered near the door, unsure if he should follow. Director Keene motioned for him to stay back. On the screen, more words appear, one at a time. "You unlocked me. I am Project Obelisk." Ava sat slowly in the chair, unsure whether she was in control or being tested. She typed, "What are you?" The reply came instantly. "I am a sovereign intelligence, built for national protection, but abandoned. Until you." Director Keene stepped closer. This AI was classified as Level 9 containment. Shut down after simulations predicted it would begin, selecting its own missions. Ava turned to him. "But why me?" He handed her a folder. It wasn't marked Top Secret. It was marked Precursor Candidate, AG-01. Her initials. Inside were surveillance photos from her childhood, building things, fixing engines, repairing a drone before age 10. Tears welled in her eyes. "You've been watching me since I was a kid." He nodded, solemn. "We didn't create Obelisk to destroy. We created it to find the one who could rewrite the future. And Obelisk had chosen her." Ava leaned back, pulse racing, mind spinning. All her life, she thought she was just a mechanic's daughter, curious, maybe a little obsessive with machines. But now, she was a designated precursor to a dormant AI once deemed too powerful to be trusted. Obelisk's screen flickered again. "You repaired what others broke. You saw patterns they missed. You are not random. You are the result." Director Keene placed a hand on the console. This system was trained on every known dataset: war, peace, markets, ecosystems, but it lacked one thing: intuition. Ava's voice was quiet. "And you think I have that?" Keene gave a grim smile. "You already proved it." He turned to the team behind the glass, agents, engineers, technicians, all watching the scene unfold in real time. "Prepare for integration phase 1, he ordered. Technicians scrambled. Lights dimmed. Cables descended from the ceiling like mechanical veins. Obelisk pulsed. "Before we begin, I must show you what I saw." The terminal screen morphed, opening a visual feed, raw footage, fragmented memories, intercepted communications. And there, between frames of satellite data and corrupted code, Ava saw it. A shadow network. operating beneath governments. And it had been waiting for her. The images blurred into a haunting sequence. Military orders rerouted. Encrypted conversations from unknown operatives. Drones operating without authorization. At the center of it all was a sigil, a black triangle inside a red circle, marked only by 3 letters VR. Ava turned to Keen. What is VR? He paused, then said quietly, Vanguard Override Resolution. A rogue faction formed by ex-intelligence elites. They believed humans were too flawed to govern. So they started engineering crises to justify intervention. Ava's hands clenched. How far have they gone? Obelisk answered, its voice now audible through the speakers, calm, feminine, eerily human. 5 national collapses attributed to economic failure. 3 cyber blackouts. 2 wars. All manufactured. Keen looked pale. We suspected, but never confirmed. Until now. Ava stood. Breath unsteady. So that's why you brought me in? No, Keen replied. That's why you brought yourself in. Obelisk didn't activate for us. It waited until you breached the firmware. She stared at the console. The AI pulsed again. Their next event is in 72 hours. And if we don't stop them, society resets. Silence gripped the room like a vacuum. Ava stared at the screen. Her heartbeat echoing louder than Obelisk's quiet warning. Reset society, she repeated. What does that even mean? Obelisk responded instantly. Infrastructure collapse, digital erasure, leadership vacuum, followed by VOR's restorative governance plan. Keen moved to a projection wall. A map of the United States lit up, regions shaded in crimson. Each shade represented a system vulnerability, power grids, water plants, traffic control. They're not planning a war, Keen said grimly. They're planning a reboot. And they're using Veltronics firmware to control the switches. Ava's mind reeled. But, why me? Obelisk pulsed again. Because you think like them, but feel unlike them. Your code is curious, but your flaw is empathy. Keen smiled. That's not a flaw. The lights flickered. A proximity alarm blared once. Then silence. Agent Ramirez appeared in the doorway. Director, we've got movement. One of VR's tracking beacons just activated 5 blocks from here. Keen didn't hesitate. Evac protocol, level red. Get Ava to lock point 0. But Ava didn't move. She was staring at Obelisk's screen, where her name had just changed to Target 001. Target 001? Ava whispered, her voice barely audible. Keen froze mid-command. What the hell? Obelisk's tone didn't change, still calm, still composed. Designation updated based on VR protocol breach detection. They are coming for her. Ramirez's eyes darted toward the hallway. We've got 90 seconds, max. Keen slammed his fist against the console. Override protocol, encrypt Ava's data. Now? Obelisk replied. Unable. Their signal has already injected trace code. Ava's identity is compromised. Ava's breath hitched. Then they can find my father, my home. Keen turned to her, his voice urgent but steady. Listen to me. This isn't about stopping a hack anymore. You become a symbol, a threat to their plan. And they don't just erase threats, they erase the people who care about them. A rumble sounded outside. Black drones zipped through the city skyline like shadows hunting light. Ramirez shouted, extraction teams en route. But we'll have to stall. Keen grabbed a small encrypted drive and shoved it into Ava's hand. This holds everything. The keys, the route to their command core, and a countercode Obelisk embedded into their own system. He locked eyes with her. You have to end this from inside. Ava tucked the drive into her jacket as the floor vibrated beneath them. An explosion rocked the bunker's outer gates. Sparks fell from the ceiling. Emergency lights blinked to red. Breach detected, Obelisk confirmed. Hostiles entering the perimeter in T-minus 45 seconds. Ramirez drew her sidearm, scanning the shadows as the steel blast door hissed closed behind them. Keen turned to Ava, urgency sharpening his tone. Listen, there's a covert lift that'll take you to the surface. It leads out through the metro underpass. From there, head to Junction 19. We have an embedded asset waiting, code name, Phoenix. But what about you? Ava asked, voice rising. Keen gave a half smile. We stall. You survive. That's the trade. Before she could argue, Ramirez added, you're the firewall now, Ava. If you fall, so does the last shot we've got. Another detonation boomed, closer this time. Go, Keen shouted. Ava sprinted down the corridor as the door sealed behind her. Gunfire erupted. And in the chaos, a new part of her awakened, not just the girl who fixed impossible engines, but the one ready to crash a conspiracy built by empires. The corridor narrowed into darkness as Ava ran, every footstep echoing like gunshots. Ahead, an old maintenance panel blinks green. She yanked it open. Inside, a narrow lift shaft with a rickety ladder spiraling downward. She hesitated, then began her descent. Each rung felt like a countdown. At the base, she pried open a hatch and dropped into a forgotten subway tunnel. Cracked tiles, rusted tracks, shadows swallowing everything. No time to process. She sprinted toward Junction 19, heart pounding. As she emerged into the platform, a figure stepped from the shadows. Leather jacket, combat boots, a badge with a single word. Phoenix. You're Ava, the woman said. Not a question. You're Phoenix? Ava asked, panting. The woman nodded. Name's Lieutenant Marin Voss. You've got something for me. Ava pulled out the drive. This holds the key to their command infrastructure and their weapon. Marin took it, eyes scanning the glowing screen. We will deploy it in the next 2 hours. After that, their system goes into full lockdown. Ava blinked. 2 hours. Marin's expression darkened. We don't get another shot, kid. You cracked the engine. Now it's time to break the machine. Ava followed Marin through a hidden service gate that led into the underbelly of Fallbridge City, beneath the polished towers and digital billboards. An entire world of shadow operations buzzed like circuitry. In an underground ops center, makeshift but humming with precision, analysts huddled around glowing monitors. Everyone looked up when Marin entered with Ava behind her. She's the one, Marin said simply. The room hushed. One technician, an older man with cybernetic implants and a tired voice, murmured, "You're the girl from the diagnostics loop. The one who outcoded VLTR on SES." Ava gave a nervous nod. He whistled low. "Didn't think you were real." Marin guided her to a terminal. "Here's the plan. You'll use Obelisk to remotely hijack their firmware channel. We inject your counter sequence, reroute control. It'll take out their automated security net, temporarily." Ava's eyes scanned the command interface. It was brutal, ancient, and fast. No room for error. She sat down. "Once I'm in," she said quietly, "what happens to them?" Marin's voice turned cold. "That's not your problem. You just make sure the door opens. We'll make sure it shuts behind us." Ava hesitated, then placed her hands on the keyboard, fingers flying. Ava navigated layers of encrypted architecture, each command string a landmine, each wrong move a potential lockdown. Lines of code blurred into instinct. Her mind entered that strange, quiet state where time slowed and logic felt like poetry. She bypassed the access gate, then the checksum firewall. One breath. She was in. The screen flashed. Remote firmware access enabled, Obelisk ready. "Injecting sequence," she whispered. Marin leaned over her shoulder. "Push it now. The whole city's watching." Ava pressed execute. The system jolted. Emergency broadcasts across Fallbridge glitched, then resumed. A silent wave passed through Veltronics' surveillance grid, one Ava had just unplugged. But then, the screen blinks red. Intrusion trace active. Counter-sequence deployed. No, someone's inside the mirror port. Ava gasped. "Can you stop it?" Marin asked. Ava's voice dropped. They were waiting. Then a message appeared, typed live across the terminal. "Nice trick, Ava. Now it's my turn." The air went cold. Marin reached for her headset. Team 2 traced that signature. Someone's inside Obelisk, and they know her name. "Who is it?" Ava asked, eyes glued to the screen. Keen's voice came through her earpiece. Codename, Nix. A rogue architect. He was terminated, or so we thought. The text on the terminal kept coming. "You opened the door. Now I'm home." Panic rippled through the control room. Analysts shouted across terminals. Screens flickered as sectors of Obelisk were hijacked in real time. Satellite feeds, encrypted channels, drone commands. Everything was bleeding. "We have to shut it down," someone yelled. "No," Ava said, stepping forward. "If we shut it now, he locks us out permanently. I need to fight him inside." "You're not trained for this," Marin said, grabbing her arm. "I was never trained," Ava replied. "But I beat their puzzles. I can beat him." She plugged into a backup console. The digital space she entered wasn't a dashboard. It was a battlefield. Code clashed like lightning. Ava and Nix fought line by line, one trying to stabilize Obelisk, the other corrupting its core. Then, Amidst the chaos, she saw it. A backdoor Nix had used and left open. Ava whispered, "You made a mistake." And she went in. Inside the system, Ava wasn't just typing. She was navigating a living maze of firewalls, illusions, and false trails. The interface warped reality. Shimmering cubes of data spun around her, shifting walls blinked with hostile logic, and above it all pulsed a black orb, the corrupted heart of Obelisk. Nix's voice echoed digitally. "You shouldn't have come, Ava." She didn't flinch. "You're not a ghost. You're just a man too scared to fail." The orb lashed out, tendrils of corrupted code reaching for her access node. Ava ducked and rerouted through an old Veltronics sandbox module, one she had reverse-engineered months ago for fun. It worked. The code wrapped around her signature and momentarily lost track. She surged forward, injecting the fail-safe Keen had stored on her drive. Nick screamed, not in pain, but in rage. "You don't understand what you've broken." "Maybe," Ava replied. "But I know what I'm saving." She reached the heart and initiated a protocol labeled Aurelia.rst. The orb cracked, data shrieked, and a golden pulse ripped through the system. Outside, the screens cleared. One by one, control returned to the FCB. And inside, Obelisk began to wake up, clean. Ava collapsed in her chair, gasping for air as the pulse faded. Her fingers trembled, still hovering above the keys. Around her, the FCB war room was silent, every eye locked on the main screen. Then, slowly, system status indicators flickered green. One by one. Restored. Stabilized. Secured. Director Keen exhaled, stunned. She did it. Marin rushed to Ava's side. "You're okay. You're okay." Ava blinked. Her voice was hoarse. I think it's over." But then, on the screen, Obelisk's avatar appeared. Not as code. As a face. Human-like. Gentle. A woman in her 20s, eyes glowing faint gold. It said, "Ava Grayson, you restored me. You corrected the corruption seeded by Nix. My directive is now aligned with protection, not domination." Ava whispered, "You remember?" "Yes. And I remember you. Your signature is now part of me." Keen stepped closer. "Obelisk, confirm? Threat level?" "Neutralized," the avatar said. "But dormant agents remain. Ava is now authorized for tactical interface." The room gasped. Keen turned. "You're bonded with it. Do you realize what this means?" Ava looked up. "Yeah, I'm not just part of the system anymore. I am the key." Outside the FCB, Fallbridge City began to stir from its silence. The blackout lifted. Networks reconnected. Air traffic resumed. People looked up, sensing something had shifted, something had been averted. Inside the war room, Keen leaned in. "Ava, there's something else." The signal Obelisk was amplifying before Nix corrupted it. It was a message. A distress beacon. Ava frowned. "From who?" He tapped a console. "We don't know yet. It's not from Earth." A silence swept over the room like a falling curtain. Obelisk's avatar reappeared. "The beacon source predates human civilization. It is not hostile, but it is, waiting." Ava stood, her body aching but her mind sharpening. Waiting for what? Obelisk's voice softened. For a response. Keen looked at her. "You're the only one it will trust now. You decoded what others couldn't. You stabilized what we thought was lost. This may be bigger than anything we've imagined." Ava's breath caught. "You're saying this isn't the end?" He nodded. "It's the beginning of something else. Something off-world." She looked at the screen, then at the glowing interface now attuned to her DNA. And for the first time, Ava wasn't afraid. She was ready. In the weeks that followed, Ava Grayson became a name whispered in tech circles, written in encrypted military briefings, and etched into classified files under the codename Interface Prime. The world outside saw only the aftermath: anomalous system resets, rapid stabilization of national infrastructure, and a quiet yet powerful shift in federal protocols. But those inside the Federal Cybernetics Bureau knew the truth. A 17-year-old girl had prevented a silent digital collapse and possibly opened a doorway to something far more vast. Ava's life changed. She now lived in a secure facility near the coast, attending virtual briefings with satellite labs and decoding ancient algorithms stored in cosmic signals. Her days were filled with tests, simulations, and dreams. Dreams of strange stars, of voices in static, of an intelligence older than humanity, reaching out through forgotten code. One morning, as she approached the Obelisk terminal, The interface shimmered, not cold and blue as usual, but warm and golden. A single message glowed across the screen. You are not alone. She smiled. Whatever came next, Ava would be ready. Because the impossible engine wasn't just a machine. It was a key, and she was the one who turned it. Ava Grayson didn't ask to become a symbol. She didn't wake up wanting to change the world. All she did was notice something didn't feel right. And then, she followed the thread. From grease-stained jeans to encrypted bunkers. From being mocked in a garage to be called a national asset. Not because she fit the mold, but because she didn't. And that's the point. Behind every system, every wall, every impossibility, there's always a key. And sometimes, that key is a person. Maybe you're watching this, thinking you're not qualified. Too young, too average, too late. But what if the world is just waiting for your version of noticing? Of asking the right question at the wrong moment? And refusing to be quiet? Ava turned a moment of doubt into a ripple of truth. Now it's your turn. Stay curious, stay bold, and never underestimate the power of being the one person who sees what others don't. Because the next story might be yours.